It's been suggested that early intervention can lead to a 4-to-1 ratio return on investment, as well as many social and moral benefits. One of those championing early intervention, and who can be seen in a short film doing so at www.preventioninpractice, all one word, .ie, is Michael Donnellan, Director General of the Irish Prison Service, and it's a pleasure to welcome him to Newstalk Breakfast. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
What's the key point you're making?
The key point is that when people get to prison, it's too late. The damage has been done. Victims have had their lives destroyed, and then we go on locking up people for generations. And what we're now seeing is that we're locking up the sons of people we locked up 20, 25 years ago. So there's a whole intergenerational drift into crime. And unless we tackle this systemically, unless we tackle this as a whole system, we're going to continue to repeat the mistakes of the past.
So what practical steps are you talking about?
I think the practical steps is the Prevention and Early Intervention Network, which is, as you know, a network of over 20 agencies who are actually championing the sort of reorientation of services to actually bring services from the back end to the front end, to the early years. Like, we know scientifically that the first 36 months of a child's life is critical. And what they get then is going to pay dividends down the road. And I see adults in prison every day who have come through a childhood of neglect, who were identified very early on by their health visitor and by their midwife. And we have to, in Ireland now, stand back and see, can we take a systemic view and can we re-engineer our structure to actually help these marginalised people to live better lives in the future.
Yeah, could you be more specific, Michael? I mean, are you if you're talking about under fours, are you talking about creches in the most disadvantaged places in the country? You're talking about home care nurses? I mean, if people are brought up in a very aggressive environment, there's a culture involved, that comes from parents and, as you say, grandparents. Are you being a bit naive in terms of, what the state can do?
I think we have to help parents who are in need and in trouble, and we have to help parents with parenting. There is this idea that people know how to do it. We have parents struggling with their young children. We have, in prison, we see a lot of the men locked up, and the women bringing up their young children to prison to see their fathers every week. And I mean, this sort of environment is the wrong environment for a child to start within. So I think, yes, people could say it's a bit naive, but I think we have to help parents to parent, and we have to support both the parent and the child. Early intervention in terms of nursery education, early intervention in terms of health visiting, in terms of play school, in terms of just intervention with play allows children to actually go on and develop those critical skills they need for their future life.
And have you put a figure on this of what type of resource allocation is required to make a big impact?
I think in the current climate we can't be talking about new resources. What we've got to talk about is reorientating, redistributing the resources we have. As you know, when somebody comes into prison and lives in a prison, they cost the state in around €65,000 a year. Now, if we could actually reduce our prison population by 5%, by 4%, and if that kind of funding could be reorientated into early years, and if that could happen across the system, so children coming out of the care system, if the work there could be reorientated to an earlier period. So I think it's about re-engineering the system, and I think this is the importance of having this early intervention network, who are reminding us that, look, it's too late when somebody goes to prison. It's too late when they go into care. We need to be getting in earlier.
And is this issue socio-geographic? I mean, is the way to this to pick out parts of the country that are blighted with social deprivation and provide better resources in that area? Is it as simple as that?
Yes. Broadly, poor people come to prison. Broadly. Yeah, and if you look at that, then in some European studies, like 6 out of 10 boys whose parent is in prison will end up in prison themselves. Now that's staggering. So we see this intergenerational effect, and there definitely is this socioeconomic poverty that people from particular environments drift into crime and drift into prison as a result. So I think we know who they are, we know where they are, and it's about us having our combined efforts to actually relieve that level of poverty.
Michael Donnellan, Director General of the Irish Prison Service, and if you want to find out more about what can be done in terms of early intervention, just log on to preventioninpractice.ie.